there's a couple other things. Acts of violence against animals. That's something that could point to the child being unstable.
Sure. Which seems to come up quite a bit sometimes in acts of violence, right? Especially on that scale. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Vandalism, fire-setting behaviors. Now, that's to some extreme, and obviously wouldn't be with every child. And that for anybody would be, one-time thing. Hey, this is happening. What's going on?
Sure.
I need to figure out what's going on with my child.
Yep.
So again, going from more subtle clues to more obvious clues.
Okay. Well, again, we certainly appreciate the insight, Doctor. We appreciate you being here and obviously lending a little bit of information on things that parents, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, all that type of thing can obviously be sort of watching out for. If you don't mind sticking around, we would like to talk to you one more time about a couple of things, maybe on sort of the proactive level, maybe things that we could be doing at home, things we could be doing as a nation in general, maybe some things that we could discuss when we get back. But right now, we will take a quick commercial break. Again, it is the Weekend Recap with Sweeney from 1 to 4. Thank you guys for joining us. If you do have any questions, any concerns, if you're looking to find out more information, the good doctor does have a Twitter account he would love you to try to check out. It is pound Dr. D-R-R-A-W-R-A. We're going to be back right after this right here on Tunes 92.5. We were lucky enough to have a special guest in with us today, Dr. Fahd Rawra. I got it this time. I've had it right all day, and then I screw it up at the end. That's just like me.
That's fine.
But either way, Doctor, thank you so much for being here again. We want to reiterate one more time to everybody out there, just in terms of the fact that we want, obviously, everyone to be seeking the best medical attention they can if in the event they're finding themselves dealing with a child, a sibling, a loved one that might be manifesting some signs that we've talked about in the past that are associated sometimes with
Sure.
what you hear these lead ups. So obviously, if you are in need of a doctor, if you are in need of a medical emergency, please, we do encourage you to call 911 or your general practitioner. Dr. Fahd Rawra is with Samaritan Medical Center, but Samaritan Medical Center 92.5 Tunes, obviously, and our sponsors are not responsible for any of the diagnosis or treatment made by anyone based on the content of the show today. In addition, the views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of 92.5, Samaritan Medical Center, or any of the show's sponsors. But again, we're trying to remind people that we have your best interest at heart, and we do want to encourage you to be seeking professional help, obviously, if in the event you're making the decision that you would obviously benefit from that. We've covered a lot of ground today, to be honest with you, Doctor. We've gone from everything from sort of the facts of what actually occurred versus sort of what the media hysteria has maybe been, what some of the misconceptions have been, a lot of the gray area, a lot of the jumping to conclusions that we all like to seem to do, especially after tragic events like this, to just sort of have that kind of innate need to make sense of it all. On a national level, just as far as reactions and what people have done, we've had everything from, Saturday Night Live had done, children's choir, the day after the shooting. We had the NFL taking moments of silence and players putting, emblems on their shoes and gear and things like that to obviously pay tribute and to remind those to be thinking and having their thoughts and prayers with the families of the victims that obviously ensued that day. What can we be doing on a more local level in terms of what we can be doing within our own households? There's a lot of opinions out there about what should be done in the schools and what should be done with gun control and what should be done with this and that and the other thing. But what are the things that everybody could do? A mother at home, a father at home, a sister or a brother who's noticing the things that we were talking about earlier today.
Yeah. Well, with the way things are, especially nowadays compared to even 10, 20 years ago, you see there's more parents, double income, both parents going out and working, so children spending less time with their parents. I guess we have to really make it a priority to make sure that we do spend more time with our children whenever we can, make sure that they have that human, or I guess more contact with living beings or humans as much as they can.
Turn the TV off. Turn the video
Turn their TV off. Yeah,
right.
Everybody's hooked up to their phones all the time and checking their Facebook and everything. And even something simple like getting a pet for a child. That helps kind of hone in on, hey, having that sense of responsibility or dealing with a living being.
Sure. But
the
the cause and effect of interacting with a person, the almost driving home the reality of the situation, that if you prick me, I bleed, kind of a thing,
Sure, because you don't want them to be glued to their video game, and then here comes real life, and they're not really able to separate that out, and everything
as far as the
gets mangled up. Yes,
realities.
Absolutely,
Sure.
absolutely. The other thing is, I wanted to take a step back and just talk about mental illness in general. We need to have more awareness of it, and that's
Sure.
what we've, as psychiatrists and people in our line of work, we've always been very concerned about. There has to be more awareness. People need to understand that this is not something that is just sort of there. It is an illness. Have the awareness. Don't look the other way. That's what people do. People look the other way, and they're like, "Oh, well, just go away." It will not just go away. If there's concerns about somebody having the psych illness, if there is somebody who has, try to get them the attention that they need, the care that they need, instead of just saying, "Well, it's in the head and it's just going to go away." It's
Sure.
not.
But obviously, the ignorance in general, or the neglect, or the self-rationalization is just going to obviously lead to events that could occur like this.
Sure.
Because of how it's handled in the first place, right?
Sure. And another thing is also kids. Nowadays we play video games. Back in the day we used to play that Atari
Sure.
stuff, but now you have the Xbox and everything's so real. Just like what we used to do, what my parents used to do when I would watch movies when I was younger. Make sure you look at, hey, if this is an R-rated movie, it's not suitable for kids. And that applies for video games nowadays. They have rating systems on it. But you'll go to, uncountable households, and these kids will be playing all these R-rated video games. So that, desensitization component is there as well. So we need to be more responsible as parents and make sure that, we know what our kids are playing, and we're not actually just handing them over these things to play. Video games, they're not cheap. Your child's not going out there and just buying it on his or her own. Mm-hmm. So be wary of it, and also be there to make sure that they're not doing something they're not supposed to be doing. Parental controls over your internet, over your your Netflix or what have you.
Sure.
Those are there. So just be a little bit more aware. Be a little bit more responsible. And one last thing, we go on the internet and we post things as well. Do realize that a lot of times when we're posting things, a child somewhere can even pick up a phone and be reading that as well. So, be careful what you put on the internet and what type of language you use. Just like when you're around kids, you use certain types of language. You don't
Absolutely.
raise your voice, or you don't use certain language. That should apply for these other media, like computers and internet as well.
Common sense adjustments.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Well, again, Doctor, I really wish we actually had a couple hours. There really is no time limit on discussions like this,
Sure.
and I think nothing but good can come out of actually opening up, again, lines of communication in the home and, of course, in venues like this. So we do appreciate you coming in, and I just want to thank you again for coming into the studios.
Thank you for having me over.
And offering your insight. And we certainly love to have you back on another topic another day. Just very quickly before we end things for today, if there is a parent or a sibling out there, what would your professional suggestion be if they're really genuinely seeing these types of signs that we've talked about today in their child, in their loved one?
If there's sort of a very, very acute concern that somebody is making threats or something, then you need to obviously call 911. Mm-hmm. But if there's more subtle clues, or you feel like, hey, well, something's not right, I need to get them some help, I would recommend you go to your primary care provider, your family practice doctor, and they can refer you to the right individual.
Absolutely.
And get you the right help that you may or may not, or you may need.
Great. Well, once again, Dr. Fahd Rawra coming in from Samaritan Medical Center and taking some time out of his afternoon on Sunday. Thanks again so much, Doctor, for being here. We're going to take a break in just a bit. Right now we're going to get back to some more music. We got a lot of stuff coming up to get a little bit more lighthearted in the next hour, guys. We got some tickets to win and a bunch of other stuff coming up after that. But again, thank you to the good doctor for being here, and we'll see you right after this right here on Tunes 92.5.
Hey, thank you.